Hello and welcome to the first episode of 2025 brought to you by JFF Security. We have a great interview coming up with Scott, the owner of JFF Security, and he's also our brand new sponsor. So shout out to Scott and shout out to JFF Security. So I'm gonna hand over to Brody now. Um, so we can
Well, yeah.
start talking about hockey.
Well, I'm going to dive straight into a bit of Raiders news. Um, and it's first brilliant bit of news is that we see the return of George Norcliffe for the remainder of this year. Um, Unfortunately, he cannot. I don't know what's going to happen with the cup final. There's obviously, as some people might know, you need to play a certain amount of games in the cup to be qualified to play for the cup final. So obviously, regular players like Cooper and Sylvester are fine, but you've got a few players that are currently playing for our team that aren't eligible to do so, and Norcliffe is one of them. Um, and then as well as Reed Morrison as well. Welcome to Reed Morrison. Um, to Romford, a new Canadian who's joined the group of imports. Obviously, as Leish has had a few injuries this year. We needed someone that was going to come in and you know keep the ball rolling import wise. So I think it was a good use. He's played pretty decent. Um, which unfortunately his debut against Hull Seahawks we did lose 6-2.
Yeah, I think
Um,
I think that's kind of bound to happen when when your first he arrived that week, I think, so he wasn't gonna
yeah, he was
uh,
he'd only
go in and
arrived
put
about
numbers. I think
two
not
three
even sure
days.
if he I think he must have only got to like one training session maybe, if that.
Yeah, yeah, he did. Yeah,
So to get on the ice and play how he did, is commendable. And but I think what's more important to talk about is how unfortunate the situation is with Adam Leishman because with all of that potential, being stuck behind the bench, obviously isn't great. Um, and because
yeah, yeah.
he's
It's
familiar with the squad, so obviously even if Reed Morrison is just as good as a player, he's obviously not going to have the same chemistry with the rest of the team that Adam Leishman has managed to build up over the past few seasons.
yeah. I don't know if I could give me 2 seconds and I'll be able to find his stats from the game. They have actually got it on the league website. There was a bit of a photo of him there. Looks Whether it was actually him in a Raiders jersey, I do not know. It looks slightly edited, but
Yeah, if I'm being completely honest, the
won't
first
commend him.
time I don't know whether this is just because it's what I wanted to believe, but the first picture I saw of him, I'm like, he looks an awful lot like Riley McRae, but I think that was just
He
my
does. Yeah, yeah.
I think that was because
Everyone was sat in the rink thinking Riley McRae had returned to the
yeah,
place, and well, unfortunately hadn't. But yeah, Raiders with only one game last week against Hull. Um, Obviously, it was a tough loss to take. Props to Hull. They capitalised on all the opportunities they had. Raiders weren't able to create enough of them. Um, but we're going to move on to some league news now. So we're going to go.
there's
Instead of
one
go,
more thing I want to say
you
about the
go on.
Raiders. I think it's a real shame to see how like performative some of the fans are because unfortunately there's not enough fans that are getting behind their team whether we're winning or whether we're losing. Um, Unfortunately, I haven't been there for a couple of games, and from what I've heard over the stream and on Facebook, it's all sounding like the crowd's miserable.
The issue with that is, and
Got to get behind the team no matter what.
there's two ways people are going to argue it. Is that obviously there are those people that believe that the fans aren't getting behind, but then there are also those people saying that the team haven't been able to perform for the fans to be able to get behind them. So you can look at it two ways. I'd more lean towards the second thing that I said. It's not any digs at Romford in any way, but it's just I feel like you see those teams that have great attendance every week, and it's because they are able to perform. And recently, Raiders haven't looked like they've been able to too much. Do you know what I mean? Like they haven't really performed as good as we know they can. And there was obviously things coming out like if we played like this and been in the same position we are at the beginning of the year, then it would have been easier to take. But the fact that we started the year off so promising, especially after everything that happened in the summer, and and everything that happened, with the ownership and you know, it took longer for us to do things. Um, and we came out and we were brilliant, we were up in the top three at some point in the league. Now we're down to seventh, quite few points behind sixth, with Solway in eighth, crawling like only 3 points away from us. That's one weekend of losses for us and one weekend of win for them, and they're above us. It's you know it's a tough position to be in.
Yeah,
Um, so yeah, if
I think
unfortunately, I feel like the fact sometimes the team is not producing the performances we need to get behind that. Well, obviously we want to get behind them, but are
yes,
we able
hard,
to with
hard
the
to get behind
performances
them.
we are having? Not really.
I think with the addition of George Norcliffe, I think that's strengthened our attack by quite a solid amount.
Yeah, it has. Yeah, yeah.
I think like some of the some of the players we lost at the beginning of the season, like Callum Wells. Callum Wells, in my opinion, was instrumental to our defense because he went out there and if he needed to, he got quite physical and I think there's been some games. Well, yeah, there's been a high level of physicality, but it's not consistent level. Um,
No, I feel like that. But the one thing that I'm going to highlight is uh, one of the Bucks two ways, Brad Taylor coming out into the squad the other week, dropping the gloves. That you could hear the sapphire after he did that, and it was able to get the fans. They were all cheering. They were, it was very vocal in there.
yeah, massive
Um,
props to Brad Taylor for just going out there and dropping gloves because
yeah, well, yeah,
he's quite a young player and going out there and getting into a fight is it's obviously not the easiest thing to do. But also it's great that he's willing to put himself on the line to amp up the team and amp up the fans.
yeah. Right, we're going to move on to the league news, and I'm going to go instead of going to results. I'm going to go straight to Dops for the weekend of the 18th and the 19th last weekend. And we've only got two things on here for the Berkshire Slough B Jets. One of them, quite funny, is the bench coach, Ashley Tate. It's been given 2+ missed game conduct, Rule 39 abuse of an official. Um, and this basically means that the coach um, receives five penalty points and the coach is automatically suspended for one game.
If I'm being completely
Um,
honest with you, Brody, it's a poor show from him. Like you,
the, the the next game, by the way, is at the time of recording this tomorrow. They've got I believe I don't know if they've got a 3 game weekend, but I think they've got definitely 2 games that I can see.
because
Um, one
at the end
tomorrow.
of the day, abusing an official is not going to get you anywhere. And I get you're passionate about your team, but you got to draw the line. You can't be abusing an official because then when you have to leave, then you're putting your team in a worse position because they haven't got you on the bench. So
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
I think it would have been really important to him to consider what he was doing in the moment because
Um,
losing
and
your
then there's what? Yeah.
it isn't going
Um,
to bode well for the rest of the game.
and then as well, joining him is number 21 for Berkshire Slough B Jets, the Marcel Balaz. Um, penalty assessed at a 10-minute misconduct for unsportsmanlike at the end of the game because he said I can't say that word. Yeah, comments towards the referees, and he was given 10-minute misconduct, but at later date has only received 2 penalty points and is free to play.
Oh, I'd be really interested to obviously we're not gonna find out, but it'd be interesting to see what he said to
Yeah,
be getting these because you should obviously that there's no place for derogatory language in ice hockey and in society in general, right? Because you gotta respect people and uh, I don't even think like because bees that you're a bottom league team and this was their game against Leeds, no?
um, 2 minutes.
Yeah, so
Who
it
did
was.
they play?
Um,
Yeah,
but
yeah, it was. Yeah, yeah,
I'm I can kind of surely they went in knowing that it wasn't gonna be a close game. Like I in I'd even go as far to say they lost quite like it was quite a gracious well not gracious because of the way they acted, but like it's not like they got thrashed like 10-0. Like 4-1
yeah.
is a respectable scoreline for a bottom of the league team going against the top.
Yeah.
So yeah no I really can't wrap my head around the behavior from their bench coach and Ballas to be fair.
So yeah, and yeah, I don't really know what's going to happen from further here, but they need to think about what they're doing. Going to get onto the fixtures for this week. When this will be recorded, Bees would have already played Bristol when this has been uploaded. So Bees would have already played Bristol on the Friday, and then on Saturday, uh, Leeds are playing Phantoms, Swindon are playing Hull, Solway are playing B Slough B Bracknell Jets, Telford are playing Sheffield. We're MK versus Romford, and then on the Sunday, Sheffield versus Swindon, Bristol versus MK, Romford versus Telford Tigers, Peterborough versus Leeds, Hull versus Solway, and that's it for that weekend. Um, Romford have got two tough opponents, especially in MK away. That's always a tough one to go to. Um, but we've made it work in the past, so if we're able to replicate performances we've had, we might actually come out on top, depending on how things go. But what we're going to do is we are going to move into a slightly new segment that me and Harry both agreed should be added into the podcast. It's called Elite Corner. And for ice hockey fans in England, it might be quite self explanatory. It's the Elite League, basically, which I'm going to try and run through every week.
And Brody's gonna try not to show his bias to the Nottingham Panthers.
Well, I'll try not to. Uh, I'll try and be nice. I'll try and be nice. Emphasis on the try. Um, so we're just going to go over results for last weekend. Um, Started on the Friday when Glasgow lost. Glasgow Clan lost to Sheffield Steelers 3-1. Um, then the Guildford Flames beat Dundee Stars 5-0 on the Saturday. That opened the Saturday. That was brilliant. Manchester Storm lost to Fife Flyers, which was actually the big shock of the weekend, I think. Fife, that was Fife's third win of the year. Um, Obviously, they played against Fife played against former Raider Zach Milton. Um, you just don't want to see. Um, it was a bit of a physical game as well. I heard there was a bit of a brawl that happened. So yeah, I don't, if I was Manchester, I wouldn't be happy with that result personally. It was a well, let's just to put it nicely, a bit of a shocker. Um, then Belfast beat Sheffield Steelers 4-2. Then the Panthers beat Coventry Blaze 2-1. It was a good result. Then Sunday, um, Belfast beat Manchester 3-2. So another loss for Manchester that weekend. It's unfortunate for them. They obviously didn't have the performances they wanted to. Then Fife lost to Nottingham 4-2. And then Coventry beat Guildford in overtime 3-2. Then the week we're currently on Wednesday, Guildford Flames lost to Belfast Giants 5-2. And then yesterday, in the Challenge Cup, in the elimination round, Panthers beat Glasgow Clan at 5-1, and Nottingham have now, and I'd proudly like to say, advanced to the semi-finals of the Challenge Cup. Who I'm not quite sure who they're going to play yet, but I think there is obviously going to be, let me just check. I think it's going to be someone like Cardiff, maybe, as far as I know. So yeah, it's great to see that they're making their way up in the cup, and obviously getting to the semi-finals is big. Um, that's coming from a Panthers fan, so definitely not biased. And then Harry, who do you support, mate? Who do you support? I haven't actually asked.
Oh,
If you
what
had
in
to pick a, if you had to pick an elite league team, who would you support?
I think. Oh, yeah. See, I think. I'll ask me next week. I'll make a decision.
Ask him next week after he spent his entire wage on streams to watch every single elite league team play. There we
Yeah.
go. That's exactly what he meant, people.
To be honest,
He'll
I'll,
do it. He'll
I'll let
do it
you
in his he'll, he'll do it in his Buzz Lightyear costume.
I'll let you into a little secret on this one. So, the reason why I support the Carolina Hurricanes is literally because the second ever NHL game I watched was it was the Hurricanes versus, I want to say, Tampa. Um,
That's just a bit rude, isn't it?
and then just seeing the way
Tampa Bay versus didn't Tampa get hit by a hurricane by any chance?
yeah,
Like
that was the one.
that's a
That
little
was
bit
recent, but
that's slightly ironic.
I
That's a bit
I'm not
rude.
I'm not even sure if the Hurricanes won the game I watched, but all I remember was I really liked the way they played.
Right,
Why-
Harry. No offense, mate. I did ask a question about the elite league, and
No, I know,
so
but this
we've
is what
moved
I'm
to
saying. Ask
we've
me
moved to
next
the
week.
NHL. Yeah,
I'll watch an Elite League game and then I'll get back to you.
yeah. Right, okay. Now looking to the fixtures coming up this week, Friday, which is tomorrow, as we're recording this. Panthers play Guildford Flames at the Motor Point in Nottingham. Glasgow Clan play Five Flyers in Glasgow. Um, Sheffield Steelers play Manchester Storm in Sheffield on this now Saturday. Dundee Stars play Glasgow Clan in Dundee. Belfast Giants play Coventry Blaze in Belfast. Fife play Cardiff Devils, which is a very tough game in Fife. And then on Sunday, Manchester Storm play Nottingham Panthers in Manchester. Coventry Blaze play Dundee Stars in Coventry. Guildford Flames play Steelers in Guildford. And Cardiff Devils play Belfast Giants in Cardiff. So that they are obviously Fife have got two very tough games, Glasgow and Cardiff. Cardiff are currently, very well, not even driven by money, but they are very well off as a team, and it's actually quite impressive to see because they actually won the Continental Cup. Um, I'm not quite sure. The Continental Cup is the it's got with a whole bunch of European teams in it, and they went on and won it in their home ground. So congratulations to them. And then next week, to wrap up January's games, Coventry play Guildford at Coventry. So yeah, that about wraps it up for the Elite League. I've got no go to the news bit quickly, see if I've got any news, but I'm not quite sure there is much. Um, Not really. They're just the Panthers going on to the Cup semi-final. Clan. Actually, there's one thing. I did say Fife playing Glasgow Clan, but that game was actually postponed um, due to a rare red weather warning. So unfortunately, they cannot travel to the game. Ice hockey was ranked the fifth highest attended sport in England this year.
Yeah, I think that's massive.
Yeah, it's the fifth highest attending sport, with apparently sixth was quite far away. I don't know what sixth was sport wise.
Anyway, so today our interview is with the one and only Scott. Hello, and welcome to our interview with our brand new sponsor, Scott from JFF Security. How are you today, Scott?
Not too bad, thank you. Yourself?
Yeah, I'm good. I think Brody's a bit under the weather, but we're here, we're doing it. So, the way we normally like to do our interviews is we just dive straight into the questions. So, our first question is, what is it like managing the security team at the Sapphire Ice and Leisure Centre?
So this is our first year doing it. So we're pretty new to it ourselves. But as a company, we've been running since 2019. Everyone loves it. All our guys and girls at work, they love it. They love the atmosphere. They love that it's laid back, it's relaxed. Everyone, is happy. They enjoy it because you can interact with the players, which they're really good at. They don't mind interacting with you, even as security. When we're there, they'll say hello and stuff like that. All the fans, all the regulars know us, so we have a bit of banter as we're going around the rink, and it's nice. We can keep it friendly, and I think that sets the tone for the Sapphire. It's not that kind of atmosphere where we need to go in like balls in China shop. We can just walk around and have a chat, and it's a family atmosphere at the end of the day, and that's how we want to keep it, and that's the way we like to work. To be fair.
Yeah. So you said that it's your first year doing it at the Sapphire. So how did your company JFF Security end up working with the Raiders?
So we was doing a event over in Hornchurch called Family Fest, and Bruce and a couple of others were walking along the fence line. Me and my wife looked up and saw him. He waved, and I basically pointed at him and told him he's getting searched on the way in. So the people that were with him, Ed and Emma and that, basically said, "Yeah, if we come in, can you search him and have pictures?" So he's like, "Yeah, no worries." So we got talking to him, and that was it, really. To be fair, I gave Ed my business card because he said that I was looking for some new suppliers, and I think we had a good chat for about an hour. Obviously, I don't know nothing about ice hockey. I didn't, and until I started going there, so it sounded like the right atmosphere that we kind of wanted.
I think that's one of the things that happens when you talk to Ed. You start talking to him and then you're talking for hours.
Yeah, it went really quick, to be fair. And before we knew it, we was getting calls on the radio to obviously to get people their breaks and stuff like that, and time flew. But it was just nice. It was just nice that we could approach them and they could approach us, and there wasn't no awkwardness or there wasn't no sort of anything like that. It just sort of all clicked in place. And yeah, we just had a chat. Obviously, I'm a family man. He's a family man, and I think that was obviously a mutual sort of thing.
So what does a typical game day look like for you and your team?
So we get in early. We get in at 3:30. We get sorted. We get obviously all our equipment and everything ready. Have a quick brief. We go upstairs to the rink for 4 o'clock. Make sure that the rink's clear of any people trying to stay in there and not pay.
Yeah.
We clear the rink. We pop down, say hello to the players and the backroom staff. Make sure again there's no one loitering. Then we hand it over to the volunteers. They come up, settle their stuff up. Obviously, we do bag checks, which is just a cursory look in, make sure everyone's got their wristbands, and then it's just a case of wandering around and just making sure that everyone's safe and everyone's enjoying their time there, which is the main thing. And that's the the key is that we keep everyone safe, but it's still a fun environment to be at.
So when you're working at the Sapphire, there's obviously the players, the volunteers, but who who are your favorite people to work with whilst you're there?
Put me on the spot now. 100% the players, 100%. The reason why is they're so down to earth. You can just walk past them, say hello, have a chat. The other day speaking to Sean Miller about music. You know, it's that kind of atmosphere. When Zach was there, he took an interest in what we kind of do. And even the other day, Reed, the new guy, we sort of had asked him if he could take a picture of my daughter, and he was like, "Yeah, not a problem." And you know, you can just chat to him, and it's nice. It's that. So 100% the players and backroom staff.
So you've obviously, like you said, you've been running your company JFF Security since 2019. So have you got any like interesting or memorable stories from the whole time you've been working in security?
Yeah, there's quite a few. So a lot of the stuff that we do we can't talk about because we have to sign non-disclosure agreements. But we've got such a broad range of services that we have stewards, obviously for game days and events and stuff like that. Then we do one-to-one security, so which is close protection, where we look after celebrities or rich people. And at the moment, I've gone back to working the security dogs.
Mhm.
And that's taken off again at the moment. We've got a good contract with that, but we I don't know if you football fans know a few years ago, Man United, they were smashing Old Trafford up and wanting the Glazers out.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there was, I think, 18 dog handlers go from London up there to secure that site at the protest, and I was one of them. And we got right in the thick of it, and yeah, it was a decent time. The dogs really enjoyed it because that's what they're there for, and it was something different for us. You know, actually working with Greater Manchester Police and controlling the crowds and stuff like that. So it was a good successful day. That was probably one of the most memorable because we got to have a tour of the stadium as well, so we was happy with that.
Yeah. So you a Manchester fan?
Nah, I'm a Hammer, West Ham all the way.
I
But
suppose it's still a cool
they pay,
experience.
yeah, if they pay the bills, I'm not going to say no.
Fair enough. So our next question is, has there been any moments where like fans or players have surprised you in the way they are?
Um, the passion for the fans, like from the fans. Um, when the very first game that I took my daughter to was Hull Seahawks, and we won in overtime. And the atmosphere was just amazing. Like they come off buzzing, the guys come off buzzing. The atmosphere was amazing. But I think the thing with the guys are even when they come off the ice and they've lost, they've
Mm.
got the untold amount of time for the fans. They don't. I've never heard anyone say no. They've always said, "Oh, we're just going to do either yes now, or they come back out and they do it, whether it's an autograph, photo,
Mm.
and that's no matter whether they win, they lose, and I think that says something about the guys, the team, and the club.
And so the next question is like if there's, for example, when the Sapphire sells out, is there any extra steps that you and your team take to make sure that the like family friendly environment is kept?
Yeah. So my point of view is, from all my staff, it starts at the front door.
Mhm.
So we want people happy at the front door. So all our guys and girls that work at the front door, we want them happy. We want them interacting with people, you know, walking up and down the queue and already creating that atmosphere before people come in. So when they come in, they bring that atmosphere in and they're happy. Whereas I think if you go to it with an attitude, that can rub people up the wrong way, then they bring that inside, and that's what we don't want. And I think especially on sellouts, obviously we take precautions and we bring in extra security. And the same thing, everybody is on the same wavelength. It's a family environment. We want everyone to have fun, and we just want everyone to be happy. And I think that is the key to it, is being able to interact with people on a level where you can have that laugh and a joke, and have that banter and sort of build them that rapport and relationship with the fans.
So obviously you're new to ice hockey. So has the Sapphire presented like any unique challenges from like a security point of view?
No, to be fair, from a security point of view, no. Trying to learn the rules though is a different thing. It's a whole different ball game.
Mm.
Um, give me rules and regulations for security anytime. Um, to be fair, everyone that goes there just knows they see me just when everyone else shouts, I shout. I don't know what it's for, but I still do it.
Yeah.
So I'm still learning the rules. But yeah, from a security point of view, no. So we're pretty lucky with that as well.
I think one of the like major helpers when I was trying to learn all the rules was talking to Ed and his son. I've
Yeah.
heard pretty much everything off of them, to be honest.
Yeah. So when my daughter goes, she actually sits with Ed and his son, um, and she thoroughly enjoys it. And if there's anything I can ask Ed or a couple of the other guys and girls, and they'll sort of let me know. If they don't know, they'll find an answer for me. So, which again goes back to the closeness of the and the family environment and how people just want to help each other out.
Yeah. So I got one last question.
Yeah.
So what is the most rewarding part of your job overall and also in the Sapphire?
So overall, most rewarding I would have to say is when we get feedback from a client that says that our services have either prevented break-ins or um, we've done the job to the best of our ability, and they've realised that, and their feedback that means 100% to us. Um, all of our guys and girls thrive on that. They don't go out looking for it, but just getting that recognition from the clients, I think, is a massive morale boost for anybody, whether it's me as a business owner or the guys and girls on the ground. I'm always on the ground with the guys and girls as well. I'm not one to sit back and go, you know, I'm not going to do it because I will do. I won't ask them to do anything that I wouldn't do. Um, so yeah. And what was sorry, mate? What's the other part? I've lost it.
So it was what is the most rewarding part about working at the Sapphire?
Seeing Romford win and seeing the atmosphere. Um, that's the massive one. But I think again, it's the players coming off and seeing the kids' faces when they're getting fist bumped or when they're getting autographs or having pictures with the players. It makes their day, and I think seeing that on the kids and then how they interact again that is probably the biggest buzz for us. It is for me personally, because there's lots of places you can go to where the players don't get to interact with like the kids like that, and I think it's disheartening for the kids. But when they're there and you know all the players fist bump them and want pictures and stuff like that, that is the most rewarding part from the Sapphire for me.
All right. So that's all our questions. Thanks for coming on and thanks for being our first sponsor.
Listen, thanks for having me. It's a pleasure to sponsor you guys.
Right. Thank you.
Cheers.
So that is all for this week's episode, and Brody is in the process of finalizing um another sponsorship for us, which hopefully
Whilst trying not to die as
which
well.
we can hopefully
Really
announce next week in that episode. So stay tuned for that, and hopefully we're gonna have more great episodes coming for you soon.